Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Sorry for the delay today. There was, I think the YouTube link is working and the other link is not working. I will ask someone to send an email about this YouTube link again. So I think someone has to send the email link to the both Bhagavad Gita groups and the Telegram channel regarding this new YouTube link, and that it only works and the live link does not work. Okay, with this I'll start the lecture today. Hope you can see me now. I will share my I'll share my screen. Hope it works. Okay. So, Mani, I don't want to do the PowerPoint only because there is a problem with that. It doesn't work if I do the only PowerPoint. I think this is best to do this way. So I'm sharing the screen now. Hope it is.
Yeah, I can see it. It looks fine, Krishna.
Okay, it goes further, right? You can see the second one also?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So thanks for Manivardharajan. Thanks Manivardharajan for sending the survey to many people. We had about 36 replies to the survey, and we really encourage every one of you to participate in the survey. This is very useful for me to understand your concerns and also understand how you are receiving these lectures and what you feel about this lecture. This feedback is very important for me to go towards the next lectures and then try to correct my next lectures based on your input. Here, let me read. Today, I would focus a lot on the question answers. The reason being, some of these questions are very fundamental and definitely important. For example, one person asked about the self-assessment questions. This I will start preparing. I didn't have time to prepare. I'll prepare the self-assessment questions after maybe the second chapter. Around the second chapter, or I don't know whether I can do it every lecture. I'll see if it can be done. Or I will post one lecture late all the time, the self-assessment one lecture late. One person has asked, can you provide details of Nyaya, Buddhism, Jainism, Vaisheshika, etc.? It's a little too early to do this. I don't want this to be at this moment a full-blown lecture on different philosophies of India or something like that. It will be too difficult and people will not follow that. It is very confusing. We have to have the context as Bhagavad Gita, and here and there where acharyas refer to different systems of thought, I would definitely try to mention the details of Nyaya, Buddhism, Jainism, Vaisheshika, etc., just for people to have an idea of that. The third question is about what about some examples from Nalayana Divya Prabandham and Puranas, Itihasas, etc. Definitely, this is a valuable question, a valuable feedback. I think I will try to do this from this class or the next class. The other fourth question was, one person has written, what are the practical ways to inculcate the lesson learned in second chapter, like Sthita Prajña, Jeeva, Paramatma, Jeeva and Sharira, spirit and matter, all these. And what is this nirdvandva, niryogakshema, etc.? How does one inculcate this nirdvandva, niryogakshema in daily life? Does this mean that we aren't supposed to grieve when our parents or loved ones die? What does this, nature of the spirit and nature of matter? We should be unconnected because matter is separate, deha is separate. So we should not be connected with body or any relatives of the body. So should we grieve when our parents pass away, or should we not? Or shouldn't we attached to, shouldn't we be attached to our own children? How are we to understand this chapter of Bhagavad Gita? And this is a very valuable question. We will talk about this. It takes a lot more to talk about this. And the other question which came up was some help with consistent practice. So people want to inculcate and practice in life, put what they learn in Bhagavad Gita and put it to work in their daily lives. So they needed some help on that. Whatever little I know, I'll try to share that with you folks. The next some question, yoga of Gita. Is it different from Yoga Sutras? This is a complex question. We will get to it after, after taking a few steps in yoga, and we'll try to get some details of Yoga Sutras and connect it with yoga also. So there is a connection, and there is also some difference. So both are almost, they do talk about similar things. We'll talk about it later. Yoga Sutras, I don't want to put a lot of ideas right away because we have not covered a lot of information regarding Bhagavad Gita yet. So let's do this, let's take this up a little later. And for self-mastery, as in war, choice and action are inevitable. To accomplish our goal, reconciliation and concessions must be made. So this is more like a statement one person has done. So how do we make reconciliations while using Bhagavad Gita knowledge in our daily life? This is a complex issue. We will think about it and we'll see what we can say about it. And another person has written, in this material world, everyone is behind money at some point. What is the way out of it? What is the importance of term yoga in the context of this chapter? How do we deal with this constant craving people have? So this is an important question. We will try to give some examples and then try to take the help of the Puranas and Itihasas to address some of these points. The next question was, please explain Madhvacharya's view. Yes, we will. We have already done some explanation of Madhvacharya views in our first few classes. Please refer to those lectures. But we will go deeper into different acharyas' views on the second chapter eventually, maybe end of this class or later in the next class. So we'll do this. Now, coming to the practical aspects of how to put into practice spirit and body. The theory is very hard. This is what has been mentioned. So this is, I'm taking one of these questions or some of these questions, and summarizing it into one area, that is how to put things into practice. And the very fact that spirit is different, body is different, and this whole theory of second chapter is hard to put in practice in daily life. I'm going to give one, I was thinking about this, and I found out that exactly a similar question was asked by a great personality in Shrimad Bhagavatam. And I'm going to introduce the actual conversation between Uddhava and Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavatam. As you know, in Bhagavatam, Parikshit Raja was about to die in 7 days due to a curse. He knew that he was going to die in 7 days. he asked Shuka Maharshi to give him some advice as to how best he can utilize his limited time on earth to achieve the best possible outcome, to achieve the highest or moksha. So Shuka Maharshi uh, uh, explained to Parikshit Raja the entire Shrimad Bhagavatam. This is the background of Shrimad Bhagavatam. He talks about Uddhava at almost towards the end of Shrimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. A lot of information regarding Uddhava and conversation between Uddhava and Sri Krishna is mentioned. In one of those conversations, Uddhava realizes that Lord Krishna was about to leave this earth, having finished all his work here on earth. And the Devatas and Chaturmukha Brahma, all of them had prayed to Lord Krishna that, yes, the time has come. You don't have to be on the earth anymore. You have done what you're supposed to do, or what we requested you, what we prayed, that those things should be taken care of on earth. Oh Lord, please return back to your original abode up there. And Lord Krishna took this information and said, okay, I'm going to head towards Prabhasa Kshetra, which is a place somewhere out there in India. And while Krishna was heading towards Prabhasa Kshetra, Uddhava says, oh Krishna, we are great friends. We've been friends for such a long time. We were so close to each other. We've eaten together, spent so much time together. You have decided to leave us now. And how can I live here without you? I cannot imagine a single moment without you on this earth. Please take me also with you wherever you're going. Lord Krishna said, oh Uddhava, this place, after I leave, Kali Yuga will come. Kali Yuga is something, you don't want to be here in during Kali Yuga. This place will be awful after I leave. You should definitely leave this world and go away somewhere. What you should do is, since you cannot do that right away, what you should do is just give up your relatives and friends. Don't be with your friends or relatives. Leave them. And think about me only. Focus on me. Do meditation on me. And you can move anywhere around here, but only thinking about me. But definitely don't spend time with your close relatives or friends or anybody. You should do that. He says, whatever you think using your mind, or see through your eyes, hear sounds and hear people's talk, smell something or touch anything, all these experiences are temporary. They won't last long. They will just come, and while they're being experienced, they will just go away afterwards. You can never find happiness in these kind of sensual experiences. All this pass away like a dream. Don't expect any happiness in this life with using the sensual organs. Focus on Atman alone, nothing else. Realize that everything other than me is useless, and focus on me. Uddhava was stunned by this kind of a message from Lord Krishna. Uddhava thought about it and said, oh Lord Krishna, giving up desires is next to impossible for me. All of us just cannot give up our family, friends, and all our desires. And we don't have true devotion. If we had true devotion, we would have probably won over our desires and we would be in a position to do what you said. But I'm unable to do all those things. Please help me and tell me an easier way, easier path as to how to focus on you. I'm filled with ego. sense of I and mine constantly lurk around in my mind. Constantly, I machinate in my thoughts. What should I get? How should I win? Whom should I destroy and win over? All these kinds of wrong thoughts occur in me constantly. And these thoughts are just not unique to me. Great people, all the way from Brahma to every creature on earth, every worm or ant on earth, seeks pleasure constantly, and they go after material benefits constantly, as though driven by some kind of a force. How can we, such poor creatures, think of getting moksha? Please teach me. I have no other goal. I'm surrendering to you, because who will tell me after you leave? Asmat Narayanam Narasakam Sharanam Prapadye. That's what Uddhava says. Oh Narayana, Krishna, Narasakam, friend of everyone, friend of people, Sharanam Prapadye, I surrender to you. Lord Krishna says, I have created so many creatures. In fact, about 85 lakh species all over this universe, all over this world. But after creating all these creatures, I was not so happy. But when I created human beings, I became very happy. I suddenly figured out that, not that hadn't figured out, Lord Krishna knew everything, that human beings can take any path they want. There are millions of goals. They can go and address millions of goals. Think of different possibilities. Such a possibility is impossible to other creatures. Lord Krishna continues and says, to answer your question, let me tell you about a story in the Shrimad Bhagavatam, a story known as Avadhuta's episode. Lord Dattatreya became an Avadhuta. Avadhuta is somebody who roams around without any care, without any acquisitions, without any interest around this world, just to spend their prarabdha karma, or the current karma which is keeping their body together. They will just spend their time and then go away. So these Avadhutas are very great jnanis. They're very renounced souls and extremely knowledgeable. Once this Dattatreya was going around there on earth, and Lord Krishna's older relative, his ancestors, one of the ancestors' name was King Yadu, and Yadu came across this person, Dattatreya Avadhuta, and Yadu was mesmerized seeing this young person. This person was tirelessly walking around the world, never bothering about any acquisition. He stopped this young Avadhuta and said, "Oh, Dattatreya Avadhuta, people always seek fame, beauty, wealth, benefits constantly. And people are always set aflame by desires. And when they don't achieve their desires, they get angry. And greed takes over them. They never work for just basic necessities. They're never happy with any amount of money or wealth or any kind of benefits and facilities. They always want to go get the next thing. Nothing satisfies them. You don't seem to be interested in anything. You look like an intelligent person, sharp, but with no interest of acquiring anything. How come those desires that torment everyone on earth is not tormenting you? They're not bothering you at all. You're moving around like a child or like an elephant sporting in River Ganga, free from any worry. How do you do that? What is so great about you, and how do you achieve this kind of a equipoise? This is the question. Then Avadhuta says, O King Yadu, while walking around I constantly try to understand something from everything around me. I have watched several creatures, several people, several things around me. Every element around me, I'm watching them, and I learn from all these surroundings. I have taken shelter of 24 gurus, and in fact, these gurus are the earth, the air, sky, water, fire, moon, sun, pigeon, a python, the sea, moth, honeybee, elephant, and honey thief, the deer, the fish, a dancing girl called Pingala, the Kurari bird, and the child, the young girl, arrow maker, serpent, spider, and wasp. All these are my gurus. Yadu is surprised. Usually he was expecting a sage or something like somebody like Narada or a Vasishta or a Vamadeva or some rishi to be his gurus. And Yadu, after hearing this, Yadu asked, "Tell me about these gurus. Tell me what you learned." Then the Avadhuta says, "Look at this earth. It supports good and bad creatures. Earth tolerates all the problems, all the destruction, all the pollution done by the so many billions of creatures on Earth. Does it like a duty? Earth helps everyone. Does not expect anything from all of us and all these creatures. Look at those trees on Earth. They constantly bear the problems of heat and cold just to be there to give shade or to give fruits or some kind of support to creatures. Look at the mountains and the rivers that nourish billions of creatures. By this, I learned that selfishness should not be nourished. Selfishness should be given up, and one should help others and tolerate whatever may be the situation, whatever may be the good or bad things that's happening around us. We should tolerate them. This tolerance is one of the gunas which are important. So these lessons Avadhuta is talking about is not everyone will become Sthita Prajña just like that. Just by trying, you cannot control the mind. You cannot focus. How much ever you do work on as a karma yoga, that doesn't immediately give you the steadiness in your mind, because we have problems. We have samskaras coming from millions of janmas. Our mind is not calm. It can be disturbed with a simple thing around us. Anybody around us in trouble or disease or something, our mind will go away. Mind will not focus. We cannot achieve Sthita Prajña or the true nature of what is spirit and what is body and why spirit is different from our body so easily. So this Avadhuta, after having so much of knowledge, is explaining to Yadu, one should cultivate these things slowly, watch things around you, slowly try to cultivate some habits in your daily life. Eventually, you will reach that perfection. While living, while doing work, while earning, while enjoying with family, while teaching the kids, while making sure kids are okay, while doing all these daily earthly family activities, you still will be a Sthita Prajña once you start inculcating a lot of things. So earth, so Avadhuta is telling Yadu piece by piece, step by step, how to achieve Sthita Prajñata, but starting from simple things. Not not going crazy that you'll be becoming a Sthita Prajña by next month or something like that, but slowly inculcating good gunas. So even Bhagavad Gita talks about these gunas. 13 in the 13th chapter, what kind of gunas one should get, Atma gunas one should acquire. Bhagavad Gita talks about this, but I am using the help of Shrimad Bhagavatam, which is more like a story form. Now, Avadhuta continues and says, from prana or breath, I can learn something. Look at prana. Prana survives. All it needs is, if you have enough food, water, shelter, a little bit, prana will be there. The prana survives on very little. All you need is some food for its functioning. Nothing else your breath needs. You start breathing, and the breathing goes on forever. Similarly, and not only that, the prana never craves for sensual objects. It never craves for money or wealth or anything like that. Prana survives with whatever little. You can live in a small hut, but your breathing still goes on. If you manage with little clothing and little comforts, your breathing will go on. Similarly, a yogi should learn to live with basic necessities. Craving for too much will not let you become a yogi. It will not let you become a person of steady mind. As second chapter talks about a person of steady mind, you have to reduce your necessities to a bare minimum. This is one of the lessons I learned from breath. That's what Avadhuta says. Then he continues. Look at air. It gets exposed to and comes in touch with so many different variety of objects. One should learn from air, because even though it comes with connection and a touch with all these objects, it does not get tainted by anything. It gives up any of the things which it picks up. For example, wind blows near a crematorium or a garden. While in a garden, the wind picks up some good scents and smells of good flowers, and then drops it. It doesn't get tainted by tainted by good or bad smells. Even near the crematorium, it may have the smell, stink of rotten dead bodies or something, but it doesn't keep it for long. It will drop the smells right there and then moves away. So whatever you achieve and get while associating with anything around you, it could be praise, insult, heat or cold, despair, fear, all these things, you should start giving up right there. Disassociate from them, saying that doesn't belong to you. This is something you need to develop slowly. You have to think about the situation and say, oh, think about it deeply. Does it really affect you? If it does not affect, why am I bothered? Let us leave this. All this material entanglements, you have to start giving up by carefully thinking about it, like how air does it. He talks about the next entity called sky. Sky is all over the place. It is not restricted by any particular object. It is inside and outside objects. Nor does it get attached to them. Think about the sky. Right within the sky, so many things happen. The moisture, the winds, the rains, storms, lightnings, all occur within the sky. Once all this happen, the sky is untouched, no blemish. Similarly, all the transformations and changes, different nomenclatures such as childhood, baby, youth, old man, all these kind of nomenclatures occur to the body. But the Atman, the soul within, is left untouched during all these phases. So this Atman is separate from the external happenings. This truth I learned from the sky. The sky taught me a lesson that, oh, this body is undergoing so many issues, but Atman within it is free. It is untouched. It is separate. It's unique. That I figured out because of sky. That's what Avadhuta says to King Yadu. Then he continues and say, look at this water. It is cool by nature. It is refreshing for every living being. It nourishes everyone in this world. Similarly, contact of good people always help others. Like how water soothes and refreshes, the contact and connection with good people helps everybody. They will be doing Nama Sankirtana, they will be probably doing some meditation, they will be talking about something nice, they will be talking about very wise things, what to do, what not to do, when things go awkward. All these nice words and great speech of this good people are so soothing, and they destroy all the sins of other people. Like how water cleans everything around it. I learned from water how to live like a good person and how to destroy sin around and purify everything around. It's a very hard job, but water taught me that. That's what Avadhuta says. Then comes, he says, look at fire, for example. Fire is my other guru, sixth guru. Fire, he says, it's shining and powerful and indomitable, high energy, cannot be taken lightly. It consumes everything around it, doesn't care for what, consumes. And it does not retain anything for tomorrow. It consumes and that's it. It doesn't save anything for future use. I knew that, but the fire taught me a lesson of how to eat whatever is available, whatever good. Not that eat everything, not like how fire burns everything. Whatever eatable and whatever is good is food, reasonable food. How to eat. It may be a little sometime, it may be in large quantity sometime, it may be very good to taste, it may be not so good to taste. Just bear with it and use and live on little food, live on anything. This kind of a nature I learned from fire. And fire also is powerful. It sometimes hides behind ashes and sometimes burns brightly. This shows me that I should not show myself, I should not expose myself certain times. Certain times I should, when I get the right environment around. This is fire taught me that how to behave in life, how to get out of trouble. Don't expose in the wrong places, but expose only where things are better. And fire burns so many things. Burning is like how to destroy the sins of others. This is what I learned from fire. And fire does not get affected by anything. For example, there is Parabrahman, Lord, in every creature. And there are so many different species, 8,400,000 species are there. But Brahman is distinct, but in every species. No creature can live without Brahman. Brahman is within these creatures. So this nature of Brahman is known to me, that he is everywhere. He is powering everything around in this universe. But he's separate and unique. He's the power behind everything. And fire taught me this knowledge. That's what he talks about, the fire. Then he says about the seventh guru, the phases of the moon. They don't affect the moon at all. It looks like as if the moon is becoming bigger, full or half or only a speck, very little visibility. All these things are only phases of the moon. They don't affect the moon at all. The moon is always complete. Similarly, so many phases like birth, existence, growth, transformation, diminishing, or destruction in a way, occur to the body and not to the soul. So the soul is indestructible, but body goes through all these phases. That's what I learned from Moon. And I learned some wonderful lessons from another guru called the sun. He says, sun constantly sucks up moisture from the oceans and rivers, not for selfish reasons to hoard these for himself, only to keep it together, acquire it, save it for later use so that others can benefit from the water. And it pours down rains in other places, in several places, to support life on this earth without any selfish interest. Yogi should also be able to earn and acquire wealth. Yogi can acquire wealth, should acquire wealth, but not with a selfish intent, but to store it and give it away in charity at the right situation to the right people. And at the time he gives up wealth, he should not have any attachment to the wealth. No misgivings in the heart. Why am I giving to these people? I should have stored it for some other use. Nothing like that. Give freely, because all these are not permanent. Vedas, in fact, say, Nanisukhi syat. Don't be upset all the time. Don't be unhappy. Don't be sad. Be happy. Earn enough. So when we talked about Sthita Prajña in the second chapter, many people would have thought, oh my God, Sthita Prajña, I should give up everything, should walk away, go to the forest and just keep on thinking of God and nothing else. No, not eat probably for way days together. This is not Sthita Prajña. Sthita Prajña is who understands that while living here, while earning for a living, while doing all these things, he can be focused. And he has to understand and give the right amount of interest and attachment to what he wants to live with, and give up them because he's unattached, and external attachments are not true, because that person has to live to the next janma, next body. Hence, nothing here really is required for this person. Vedas say, earn a lot if possible. Bahuda artham manyat. I think that's what is the sentence. I will check the sentence, I'm not sure. Kimartham. Why should you earn so much? Dharmartham, for charity, for supporting everybody else. This is what I learned from Sun. Now comes the next guru or the next teacher of this Avadhuta. One person had asked me earlier, should we not grieve for our parents when they pass away? Should we not be attached to our own children? This is a very good question. Everyone has this question. One day or the other, people get this kind of questions. So this is explained in this particular episode of the pigeon. In Sanskrit, they call it as Kapota. Kapota birds. They are pigeons. This Avadhuta says, look, too much attachment to anyone or anything is bad. One should not be totally immersed in attachment. And oh, King Yadu, I will tell you the story of Kapota, the pigeon, in this context. Once, there in a forest, there was an oak tree. And a pigeon had made a wonderful nest in that oak tree. And the pigeon lived with his wife, a female pigeon, happily for several years. Both these pigeons were always lost in love, frolicking, singing, playing, looking for food together, eating together, sleeping together, hugging together, having fun all the time. They loved each other so dearly, they stared at each other's eyes for endless time, I guess, caressing and hugging each other without care for anything around them. They would be upset even if they were separate for a moment, they would be upset. Because of the extreme favors shown by the female pigeon to the male pigeon was a slave to this female pigeon. And the male pigeon is to bring any kind of gifts, whatever the female pigeon wished for, without questioning, because the male pigeon had completely lost control over senses. Totally crazy about such a wonderful companion. Eventually, nature took course and the female pigeon became pregnant. And in a few months, it hatched a few eggs. After some time, due to the divine power of the Lord, cute little birdies started hatching out of these eggs. These birds had tiny feet, colorful feathers, and they were making really cute sounds. And as these adorable creatures came out, the parents had no end to their happiness. They were so enamored by those little birdies, constantly watching them, constantly playing with them, listening to the tweeting sounds, and listening to their cries for food, and going and picking up food for these little birdies. All these memorable events kept these parent birds totally engrossed in the family life of bringing food and making sure that the little ones had twigs and warm place to survive. Once these birds had to go far away to bring food for these little pigeons, little birdies. And these birdies had grown a little bit. They had some strength, and the birdies were able to move out of the nest here and there. And these birds slowly got out of the nest, and then somehow ended up being very near a hunter's hut. The hunter saw these little birdies falling right near his home, his hut. He spread a net around and waited for these little birdies to be caught. Surely, with their minimal mobility, they couldn't go further. They were caught in the net. The hunter happily was there, waiting, saying that, "Oh, I'm sure somebody will come here." And without a doubt, those two birds, the parents had gone so far away to bring all the nice things for the little ones, picked up a lot of food and all the amenities and came back to the nest, could not find these little ones. Very worried they were. They just looked around, and finally the female pigeon spotted these few little birdies caught in the net right over there. Without even thinking, without not knowing what would happen to her, she flew right there to hug these little birds, but got caught in the net and could not escape from this hunter's net. This husband pigeon looked around and said, "Oh my God, what happened? What has happened to me? Look, I was living happily here. Suddenly, my eternal companion, this wife, who was so dear to me, is gone. And my little ones, for whom we lived all this time, so happily, they're all stuck in this net. They cannot come out now. They are ready to leave. They are ready to leave this body because the hunter would not leave them. What have I done all along? Just to take care of my home and family, I worked all along without understanding, is there something else out there? I didn't even realize anything. What will I do now in this lonely nest? And every twig here, everything around me, every leaf in this tree will remind me of those fun times and great moments I had with my family. I cannot live like this anymore. I'm going and be with them, even if they're leaving this body." So this pigeon flew right into the net, got caught, and obviously the happy hunter took all of them for dinner and said, okay, my today's dinner is taken care of. And he went away, and these birdies, all the birds died. What this shows is, if in this world one thinks that the world and family life is everything and nothing else exists, taking care of the family, bringing food, water, shelter, bringing entertainment, be with friends and having fun, if this is all is the end of human life, this person will end up like this pigeon, along with its relatives. Along with the relatives, this person will die. What this means is just not death. Death is certain for everyone, right? That it's not about the death. What it is this human birth is very rare. Only in a human birth one can strive for moksha, can think of what else is there. You should not give up your family completely and go away. That is not what is being said here. You have to give everything the appropriate interest and time and attention. Learn from everything. Family life is there to learn about what life is, what is real, what is not real, what is long lasting, what is not long lasting. If one is engrossed completely in family life and does not see anything else, that's a total fall. In fact, the Shastra, the Bhagavata says, it is like climbing a great height, doing so much of work over millions and millions of births, doing so many things, whether you can do it or not over in those creature bodies, having spent so many time in those bodies, finally getting a human birth and then wasting it away on just nothing else but happiness here is a total misuse of this human body. This human body is so perfect, even though it has so many diseases, even though it is frail, even though it is subject to so many problems. It is the greatest thing here. It's a machine which can take you to the higher lokas, to moksha also. So one should not waste a human birth in any other pursuits, but learn from all the pursuits, learn from life that what is eternal and what is not eternal, and move towards eternality or amritatva. That is the real goal. This is what King heard from Avadhuta. Now I'm going to stop sharing and get back to the class. I'm hoping that all of you are listening to this. I didn't have time to look at my messages, and maybe I should, and I think it's working properly. Let me spend a few more minutes on some more questions I got. One person asked, Karmanyevadikaraste. Before I get to this, let me summarize this whole thing. What King Yadu heard from Avadhuta is, there are so many episodes from which human beings have to learn. And they cannot learn about Sthita Prajña directly. That is the goal, that is the end of it. Don't forget that this second chapter is very loaded information. Jivatma, for some acharyas, for Ramanuja.org, it is about Jivatma Sakshatkara, that is realization of this Jiva or individual soul. For Madhvacharya, the second chapter is about realization of God. And all the realizations before God is also included within it. It's a summary chapter. Even for Shankaracharya, second chapter is a summary chapter where Sthita Prajña and Brahma Nirvana are states which are the final state of realization, which is Brahman realization. That is for Shankaracharya. So it doesn't matter how you look at it. It really doesn't matter. But it's a loaded chapter. So to understand this, you may have to think a lot, and you may have to get help from so many different rishis and other people who have talked and who have given us so many vidyasthanas, like the Puranas, Dharmashastras, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all these different smritis. They are very helpful for us to understand all these things. So it's not easy to understand. So your questions are very valid, and one has to think a lot. And Lord Krishna is going to clarify many things in the rest of the Bhagavad Gita. So we will take note of it as we progress in our lectures. Coming back to a couple of more questions. One person asked about karmanyevadikaraste maphaleshu kadachana. Here, karmas means, are they only restricted to Vaidika karmas? Or it could be any karma? It's a very good question. I asked Alvar about it, and I will clarify even further. And I have not thought about this very deeply. But what I have understood till now is Acharyas say that this karmanyevadikaraste refers to Vaidika karmas only. Vaidika karmas can be kamya karmas, that is for getting getting a kid. Maybe it's a putra kameshti yajna, or getting for heaven some yajna. That's all kamya karmas. Something here or hereafter, or it is Nitya karma. Nitya karma could be Sandhya Vandana, or Sandhya Vandana, or Brahma Yajna, or different kinds of what do you call, different Nitya karmas are mentioned, actually. Daily duties mentioned in the Vedas. The other one are Naimittika karma, only done at a particular time. For example, if there is a eclipse, right? Grahana, eclipse, then you're supposed to do certain things. So all those things are Naimittika karmas. When something happens, you do it. These are referred to as karmanyevadikaraste. Shastra vihita karmanyevadikaraste is what our acharyas have said. But what do you do about any action? It could be even like playing tennis, this one. So what it is, for those actions, that is not the reference here, because that doesn't ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phala heturbuhu, mate sangostu akarmani. All these mate sangostu akarmani will refer to, oh, if I apply to table tennis, oh, mate sangostu, don't stop playing table tennis. You need to continuously play table tennis. And those kind of meanings might come up. That we should not take it that way. But you have to remember, every action definitely, sorry, I didn't even have my light on. Every action is binding. It will always affect someone. Whoever performs the actions will affect that person. It binds that person in some ways. It gives some samskaras, some experiences which are stored in his database forever with him. With the database exists in his mind. So it's better to do every action as dedicated to Paramatma, to God. That is why people say Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Say, oh, whatever I say, let it be given to God. Let me dedicate this to God. Lord Krishna himself says, Edashnasi, Etkaroshi Edashnasi, Yettapasyasi Konteya, Tatkurushva Madarpanam, Shubha Shubha Palairevam. That means the thing is, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you think, offer it to Lord. Tatkurushva Madarpanam, Lord Krishna says, offer it to me. You will not be tainted, you will not be bound by the good and bad effects of those activities. So in the future, all actions are included in the later chapters. Here, in this context, it will be restricted to Shastra Veda karmas there. That's all. That is the answer I know right now. I will validate this answer and then make sure, hopefully, I will find out the real true answer. It's a constant search for the truth, right? We know very little. I know very little for sure. So I'm constantly learning from different people and trying to distribute what I learn. With this, I'm going to end this lecture. What I suggest to you is to please write down your questions and send it to the Bhagavad Gita lectures group on Gmail, the Google groups on Gmail. That is a good way to send the questions. I had couple of more questions asked by other people. I don't have time to deal with those questions today. It's coming to the end of the hour. So I'm going to stop here for now. And hopefully you can write to me about the questions. And in the next lecture, we may start going deeper into what different acharyas have said about second chapter. We did go through an overview of the views of different acharyas on the second chapter, but now we will go a little bit deeper in the next class. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Pranamatu, Shri Lakshmi Simha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna.